Joining us now from the Michigan Better Business Bureau is their president and CEO, Melanie Duquesnel, back with us on the MegaCast. Melanie, thank you for being with us today.
Thanks for having us, Tyler.
Appreciate it. So, as we all know, as we've seen over the past nearly 2 weeks at this point, tragedy in Ukraine as the Russian army has launched a full-scale invasion of the sovereign nation of Ukraine, a refugee crisis we haven't seen since World War II. Over 1.5 million people already have fled the country and counting. There is a great need for help for those in Ukraine, and many charities, many organizations across the world are going on the front lines to help those of Ukrainian descent overseas that are fleeing Ukraine, and especially those that are in Ukraine. However, like with any other crisis, like with any other charitable opportunity that people are looking to tap into and to help with the cause of, that also leads to the doors opening for scammers to get out there and take advantage of the generosity of people. Let's start off with what people should be looking out for when they're looking to donate to these organizations that are looking to help those in Ukraine or help those that are helping those in these areas. What should they be looking out for in order to determine that this is a legitimate charity?
So first and foremost, have you ever heard of the charity before? Many people are thinking because it's a Ukrainian need, you may not have heard of the charity. There are global charities out there like American Red Cross. Even though it says American, their Red Cross actually connects on a global scale. So that's just one example. But when you're looking at the charity, do they have the ability to provide the services to the Ukrainians, either at the border or within their country? Were they already there before the war started? Because getting into the country now to provide services and humanitarian aid is really challenging when so many are leaving the country and trying to establish infrastructure for any kind of humanitarian need is going to be daunting right now in light of all the war that's going on.
And so when we see these opportunities to help people across the world, even help people right here in the U.S. pop up, whatever the crisis may be, a natural disaster or a human-made disaster, we do, as I mentioned before, see these scams pop up. So far, even given that it's only been a relatively short amount of time, just under 2 weeks since the invasion of Ukraine began, is the Better Business Bureau seeing a rash of these scam artists begin to make these charity scams related to Ukraine, and just how much of a problem has it already been for consumers?
Well, it hasn't been a real problem yet. It hasn't kind of gotten its sea legs yet, but recognize that it is happening. There are just people that may have not have brought it to our attention. Because we're talking about a foreign country, people think that they have to do things in a very different way. So they may not have realized that they've given personal information. They may not have realized that they have given away their credit card number. So sometimes the return of the bad news has not yet hit because it has only been 2 weeks. But probably the easiest place where these kind of scams pop up is what we affectionately called crowdfunding sites, GoFundMe, those kind of things. What is interesting about GoFundMe, which is a BBB accredited business, we are working with them diligently to make sure that they don't have any replicated pictures that really don't belong to the owner of that new outreach. So when you're looking at a site like a GoFundMe, look at how many times a particular picture may pop up and saying that they're this charity or this family that's trying to do some good work. If that picture multiplies itself more than once, it's a red flag. Step back, do your due diligence, look at who's the one that's organizing this. Is it a national or international charity? What are they doing to, what kind of aid are they providing? And then do some verifications on that group. You know, step away from the GoFundMe, open up a new browser window, look at what that charity does. And then ask around, ask your friends, go to give.org, which is our sister organization called the Wise Giving Alliance, We accredit charities on 20 standards of trust. And when you're looking at that, we put them through the paces to make sure that they're supposed to do what they advertise that they're doing.
We're joined by Melanie Duquesnel, the president and CEO of the Michigan Better Business Bureau, joining us on the MegaCast as we talk about charity scams, and we see these things develop when these do start to develop. You mentioned that some of these scams, we haven't really seen a big problem with them just yet because they haven't quite developed their sea legs, as you said. They haven't really nailed down their strategy and been able to affect a wide range of people. As that does happen, as people have been scammed in the currently or in the future by these nefarious actors, what are some steps that they can take, or what are steps that organizations like yourself and certainly law enforcement can take in order to counteract the actions of these people that are taking advantage of the generosity of others?
Well, first, if you're going to donate money to an organization that you may not have any real connection to, if you have the means to have a separate credit card, never give with a debit card because you're giving them direct access to your checking or savings account. But if you have a separate credit card that has a very low maximum credit amount, let's say $500, and you're willing to potentially lose $500, then you can use that credit card. But when you use a debit card and you leave that debit card open, you run the risk of them coming back to get more money out of that account. So again, the credit card allows you some protections. If in fact you come to find that your money didn't go to the right charity that you thought you were giving to, you can go back to the credit card company and they can attempt, not guarantee, they can attempt to get your money back.
We're joined by Melanie Duquesnel, the president and CEO of the Michigan Better Business Bureau, joining us on the MegaCast. And so even some legitimate organizations, some legitimate charities or organizations that will be doing relief work here in the U.S. or around the world with different crises, such as, of course, the invasion of Ukraine and the war that is underway over there in Eastern Europe, some of them will be doing great work, but they'll also not entirely be giving all of their funding that's through donations to that specific work. So when we see claims of 100% will be spent on relief, does that actually mean 100%, or is there a way for consumers that are willing to donate to these organizations to verify whether or not the entirety of their donation is actually going to be going toward what they're donating for?
Historically, the way that a donor can mandate that it goes to a specific cause is to have actually a pretty sizable donation where they are going to put it in an endowment or do something of that sort, where they can really make the donation what they call restricted. But in a general situation where you're just going through a text giving platform or you're donating online, those funds can generally be used, excuse the multiple words, general fund, where the charity can use it wherever they need it. When they say that 100% will be spent on relief, it's a red flag, because the cost of getting the materials there, to acquire the materials, the staffing cost, what do they really mean by what 100% of that cost is? And if it does include all that, they may be accurate in their statement, but you have to pick at the points to make sure that they say what they're going to do, or they're going to do what they're going to say, what they say.
We're joined by Melanie Duquesnel, the president and CEO of the Michigan Better Business Bureau, joining us on the MegaCast. And so, Melanie, when scams do pop up, how often do these scams develop? Is it usually a group of people? Is it usually individuals that are perpetrating these scams? And just how extensive can these, especially charity scams, end up getting?
Extensive from the charity scam can be a Bernie Madoff. Bernie Madoff went after all kinds of charities and higher education, as well as daycares that were in his community. So the scam can morph itself into something huge. But let's talk about the recent tornado that happened yesterday in Iowa.
Yeah.
You're going to find people that are going to want to donate, want to send clothes, want to send food, and they don't necessarily know how to get it there. that's when going with a more national charity for direction and guidance is really helpful, just to make sure your investment in that charity or in the people of the Ukraine or Iowa get the funds you want them to. You know, it is maddening to donate to something and they haven't used it in the manner in which you had thought they would. So understanding when you go to write the check or you hand them your credit card, what do you really want the funds to go to? The Ukrainian Center in Warren right now is collecting goods and shipping it overseas. Recognize that it's going to take several weeks for those things to get there because they have to go through customs on both sides. We don't know exactly where in Poland, Moldova, wherever the country is outside of the Ukraine, where they're going to be able to set up shop and get these things deployed. So recognize patience is imperative, but also your homework is probably even more important. Just to understand how they're going to do it, where they're going to do it, how long is it going to take, and are you going to get any recognition of your investment? So depending again on how much you donate to a charity, they may send you some pictures of what's going on, how your money's being deployed. And those are really helpful, but it isn't always a guarantee that you're going to have your money going exactly where they say.
And that's all the more reason why it's really important before you're donating to a charity or a nonprofit that you're not entirely familiar with, that you do your research. Even if it isn't a legitimate organization, you want to make sure that you know what you're getting involved with. So for those that are interested in donating, for those that are in need of doing that research, where are some good places for them to start, Melanie?
So we have a list on give.org/news/wisegiving. And if you were just to go to give.org and put Ukraine, we have a list of about 20 accredited charities that are really focused on Ukrainian relief. So as an example, looking at this, the AmeriCares Foundation, Care USA, Catholic Relief Services, Mercy Corps, Salvation Army, Operation USA, Save the Children. And that there's quite a few more after that. But we've already accredited these charities. We have verified through our standards of trust with them that they do what they say they're going to do and how they're going to do it. So maybe start there because we've done the homework for you. But if you have a friend through Facebook that all of a sudden says, hey, so-and-so is saying we should donate through here, take a step back, look at a different way to do it, because sadly, at least 60% of the time, I want to say 9 times out of 10, but I'm not 100% sure on that one, but at least 60% of the time, you don't know where that money went. You can't verify it. There's no paper trail, and you can't make sure that what you want to have done was done.
We're joined by Melanie Duquesnel, the president and CEO of the Michigan Better Business Bureau, joining us on the MegaCast. Of course, the website she was mentioning through Better Business Bureau partnerships is give.org. Go to give.org. Top of that page, there's going to be a link to news. If you go to there at the top of the page, on that next page over, you'll have a link at the top that says Give Wisely. It'll give information on how to do that research, how to look into some of these organizations you may be donating to, and that page she mentioned about donating to causes in support of the Ukrainians, both in Ukraine currently and those who have fled the country, to make sure you're donating to accredited charities. That's give.org. You can also learn more information from the Better Business Bureau directly at bbb.org. Melanie, here in the state of Michigan, outside of these charity scams at this time, are there any other common scams that we're seeing afflicting consumers in the state of Michigan that people should be aware of?
Well, it's that time of year. It's called the IRS tax scam. Mm-hmm. We're all getting our taxes together, giving it to our accountants, or trying to do it on our own, and out of the blue you get the call from a tax man or woman saying that you're delinquent. And it's all driven on fear, hoping that, for goodness sakes, you're going to be just a little uncertain and you're going to go pay for your taxes with a gift card. The IRS never will ask you to pay for your taxes with a gift card. Additionally, the IRS never will call you and demand immediate payment. So the IRS always starts with what I affectionately call snail mail. If they have a problem with your taxes, they have a couple of questions about your tax return, they're going to send you a letter, a regular old letter. And then you're going to have a direct person to contact, and you know the system on which that all will occur. When you get out of the blue, and it actually comes through as text messages too. So be aware that they don't care if it's your cell phone or your home phone. And sometimes they'll even send you an email, because their intention is to overwhelm their email systems or overwhelm the phone system and find that one person that is just a little unsure to, excuse the expression, but pull the trigger and go get those gift cards to pay their taxes. They're never going to pay their taxes that way. They're paying somebody else. So even though the phone number may look like it's from the IRS, don't believe it, because caller ID in this particular situation can be fibbed, can be flat out lying to you. So you want to make sure that if the IRS does call, say thank you, I will call you guys back, and then start the process over directly. Go to the IRS website, irs.gov, and they have contact means through that, and then start it that way. Do not engage anybody on the telephone for the IRS.
What's the IRS going to do with a gift card anyway? You gotta think about that. What do they need a gift card for?
Maybe they had some presents they needed to give. Maybe it's a baby shower or a wedding. Or
here's the present you give to those IRS officials that are asking for your gift card. You take the phone, you hang up on them. There's your present. Melanie, thank you so much for joining us. Is there anything else at this time that we haven't discussed that would be important for Michiganders to be considering at this moment?
Just if you have any questions, give us a call. We can walk you through anything. So especially robocalls are coming. If you get a robocall, hang up. There's no value in a robocall these days that I am aware of, unless it's your DTE or Consumers Energy is because you've got no power. But that being said, just if you have any questions, give us a call. You can reach us Monday through Friday from 8 until 4:30. So, we're here. We can listen to any and all problems, and we're more than willing to help you get through it.
Melanie, thank you so much.
Thank you.